Alright, today I want to do a little project planning / update video on some of the projects that I've worked on and what I learned, questions I have, and things like that. So one of the first projects I was working on was an idea I had for Duckhausen. This is my first real attempt. I think it's pretty decent. Duckhausen is based on Danhausen, which is a wrestler. So this is kind of his face here. That's kind of the idea of doing the paint. He's a really weird guy. My plan overall is to, he's a wrestler, toy collector, and he's more or less like his persona is just really weird. So I think maybe this really weird idea might work out. He talks a lot about like one of ones, and so my idea was to send him a Duckhausen, which is more or less a one-on-one. I wanted to ask him to see if he would maybe sign a blank card for me, and maybe do that on Cameo. I can pay him over Cameo, and that way I could have kind of a unique experience. And one of the things I was asking, my plan was, because it wouldn't be really a one of one, he would have the one of one, and I'd have the two, or the one of two, and I'd have the two of two for Duckhausen, and I'd make my own Duckhausen. The signed card would be kind of a neat thing. Send him like packaging, shipping. This was one that I had already removed and kind of already really messed up, so unfortunately I can't use this one, so I've got to get another duck and roll. One of the other projects that I started working on was I got this just to play around with, but mainly, let's see if we can see in the detail. If you look at this kind of card, this is a laminated back. I tried removing the glue here. It might work. I need to test a little bit more, like I'm going to probably test up here now that I've tested a little bit more. But this card, it's hard to see, but it has like dimples. It has this weird dimple. I don't know if that glue gets in there or if they crimp it or something. I even tried heat over here because I don't know if maybe that glue is like a heat-based glue. That's why it's a little miscolored here and even bent. That didn't seem to help either. And the reason why I was looking at that kind of card is because of this guy. This guy has that same dimpliness, same lamination, but he's got that same little bit of dimpling on the card. The reason why I'm looking at him, I like this, that they've changed this packaging. I've only seen these at Target. They're on end caps. They're kind of interesting. They had used to come in little Castle Grayskulls, and that was okay, but this is nice for display. The reason why I wanted to get him is because there is a ScareGlow, and I've ordered a ScareGlow. He used to come in a 2-pack though, so he's not really displayable. It's like him and Stratos. And even along the, and so like I was thinking that if I could remove, again, kind of using the same idea as the Hot Wheels, if I could remove the card, remove Skeletor, put ScareGlow in, then that's much cooler. Then even potentially, I've pre-ordered some more ScareGlows. I don't know if I'll ever get them, but if I can ever get my other ScareGlows, then potentially I can take off the text, and maybe it might have to be a little stylized as far as how the text is on there, so that it kind of looks bootleg. Maybe it'll look kind of interesting that it's ScareGlow taking over the package or something, but I think there's something fun to do with that, at least so that the ScareGlow Mini can be nicely packagedly looked displayed. Then the other project update was I've gotten the land shark out. This is quite the project. This card is laminated on the back, so I had to like scratch and remove, and over time I got it so wet with nail polish that I got down to this. Pretty clean except for the bottom. So what I think in retrospect is, again, I don't know if you can tell, but there's a little bit of like, there's like a 2 and a 6 right here, and I'm trying to see if I could get them to show up. There's like an indentation right there where they kind of press something, and I don't know if that just makes it so that it's just impossible to do this. I think I can hopefully both like kind of paint the what my plan is see if I can paint in that texture so that it doesn't show up, and then just try to line up everything. if you ever try to do this, it's possible. What I did was on both sides would put it. I also put it on the back, like I said, because I'm not too worried about the back of the card. What I would suggest too is there's a little gap, a little hole right here, and I would potentially maybe even fill this up so that you can attack the glue from both sides. I was a little worried about doing that at first. Also, it just takes a lot of time. Like, if you're gonna try one of these types of cards, at least have a couple of hours. Prepare for hours and hours and hours. What I've noticed that as we've done more of these is you really should almost never try to pull it. Once the glue gives away, it'll just let it go. What I was also doing as another thing, just to let you know, another idea, if you ever try this, is as this started to come up in some areas, like I think, oddly enough, one of the first areas that came up was up here. So at some point I looked and this was like up. So what I could do was, whenever this was dry, I would kind of push the paper in and I would see how far it would go. But what I was also using this as is a wicking material. So this was a new place that I could just start injecting a bunch of the nail polish remover into and then remove it that way. Then the next project I've thought of is the Channel 6 news van. So using this guy, it's my donor, the old Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles news van, which is pretty rare, is based on this same body. All they did was they changed out the door. So my plan right now is Dremel out this door so it's nice and flat. And then the only other thing I'm considering is I like some of these alternate takes just from a paint perspective. That's a good alternate tank as far as painting. And it's hard because even here, I should have probably prepared, but even the toy itself is not really what they gave us. I mean, it's kind of hard because, like, yeah, we don't get any of the things here, and then this guy's supposed to be orange. If Andre from Naz's channel would actually leave any TMNT for anybody, maybe I could actually get another one just to paint the door. I'd really have liked to get this premium because if I can get it off the peg. This premium is just so much nicer, and it's nice and modifiable. But I mean, I've only found one of these, and that was out of town. If I ever see another one of those, if I can find one on a decent enough price, that might be another option. I just plan on keeping it on the same card. Again, this card even didn't do that great, which is a little unfortunate. Again, I don't know that it'll be horrible. I just have to learn and use more time. But yeah, it's I think those are the options. I still think that this I think it'll look pretty good to have this kind of TMNT news van. And I think the 6 on the door makes more sense. And it's just easier for me as far as painting it will be easier. I don't know if I'm getting pretty close down with this hobby that I may look at doing some transfers. So that's always an option too. Yeah, it's weird too because looking at I didn't even notice this before in my list of pictures. The news van on the on this is definitely got that, just like that one big 6 on the door. And as far as the top, I think mainly I'm going to look at just taking off this. I may leave it. I'm going to see how this plastic reacts to being dremeled. My plan also with the plastic, just to kind of provide other details, is with this kind of plastic, or with just plastic in general, if I get too deep, I'm going to come back with like a green stuff, like a 2-part epoxy, mix it up, wet it, smooth it over, and then if needed I'll sand it so that it lays flat. I also have liquid green stuff, which is pretty weird and decent too about filling like really minor crevices. So those are my plans, at least for how to like clean this up and hide it. Again, it's going to depend on how how this works. The other thing that I want to do with that is, and I'll probably make a video on, is I want to use these guys to hold my Dremel, because what I found in the past is using the Dremel by hand is, I don't know, it just feels difficult to control that. Whereas if you put it on a surface and like lock it in place, then you're just kind of using this. You're using the car. You're moving the car around on the tool. And I think that'll give me a lot more control, at least from other things that I've done. Let me see if there's anything else, but I think that's my list of upcoming projects that I'm looking at. And yeah,